What a world. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the COSIGN Conversations podcast, where we interview entrepreneurs, creatives, executives, influencers that we co-sign and want to share with our platform. So today I have the pleasure to have this illustrious guest with us today. She's the 2024-2025 Sports Executive of the Year at the COSIGN Awards. She's Director of Marketing and Sponsorships for your Dallas Mavs. Miss Alexandria Williams. How you doing today?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I can't complain.
Yes,
I'm here with you today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Finally got it on the books.
Hey, we finally made it happen. I know you're a busy woman.
Same to you. I appreciate the time.
Of course. So you're new to the city of Dallas. You came here swinging.
So technically, yes.
Okay.
I was actually born in Fort Worth. Just a little fun fact.
Funky town.
I was born in Fort Worth. Dad played football at TCU, offensive line.
Okay.
And then we actually moved to East Texas when I was like 7.
Okay.
And then I worked actually in Dallas right before COVID for like a year and a half at Cinemark. And then COVID happened. We'll get into it. But I was there for a little bit.
Okay.
But this is my first time back in like
a
while. Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
So one of our members on our media team played wide receiver for TCU. David Porter, I don't know what years, but yes, we got some TCU connections there.
Yeah.
And
I'm a Horned Frog by default.
Hey, where did you go to school at? PV, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How'd you like
that?
Okay, you're one of those.
I'm very much one of those.
You're one of those.
I played volleyball. I was recruited.
Oh, wow.
I played 1 year. I dislocated my knee. My second day of 2 days.
Oh, wow.
But I played the whole season.
Okay.
But I played there. But I'm definitely one of those.
Okay.
And then one of those HBCU people in general.
That's what's up. So real quick, because a lot of our audience either has kids or they're high school students going to college, right? If you had NIL deals back in the day, do you think you would have got one?
Yes. I was just saying this. So one of my good friends, her family just hosted a women's basketball team a couple of weeks ago for dinner. And I went and I was just like, dang, I was not that great. But I swear I would have had a nail deal, lipstick. I would have had something. I would have monetized the heck out of that.
Oh, yeah.
So I wish there was NIL back then, but so grateful that the student athletes at this point have that lane, right? That they should be able to make money off of their image and likeness. I'm so happy that that's happening. Even though it's still like low-key the Wild Wild West. I'm still happy that they have that.
Definitely is a Wild Wild West for sure. So a lot of people who know me know that, I was a basketball star. I'm only 5'7", so I didn't go too far. But I had some nice stats. I had some crazy games back in the day. Then I realized, I'm not going to make it to the league, so let me go get some money.
Yeah. I mean, even with that being said, I was middle blocker. That was my position I played in college. But I'm like 5'10" on a good day. I'm normally in heels, but our first game was against Baylor. Short story. The shortest girl at the net for Baylor was like 6'3", 6'4".
Oh, wow.
I'm 5'10", tallest girl on our team in the net. Let's just say it didn't end that well.
But
learning experience. My whole family came out. It was good.
Hey, they had some hype, but hey,
they had some hype.
Y'all stuck it out.
We did.
I'm sure my age a little bit, but fun fact.
How old are you?
I don't want to say on camera.
No.
I'm ageless. I'm gonna say that I'm ageless. But for those who want to watch this and do the math, I'll let y'all do that, right? So when I was in high school, the 2 times our team made it to the playoffs, one time we got eliminated by Kendrick Perkins. So Kendrick Perkins, he used to play.
How old are you?
I'm
not that.
I'm in my 30s.
Me too.
Okay, well, that's cool then.
Me too. Yeah.
I'll say mid.
Me too.
Mid-30s. Okay, we lit.
We aging gracefully over here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I got some gray hairs, but that's okay. That's wisdom, right? That's wisdom. But yeah, Kendrick Perkins, NBA star, championship. Now he's I believe an analyst or reporter. Yeah. They demolished us. Like, he's 6'10". The tallest person on our team, varsity basketball, was 6'5". He was center.
Oh, yeah. So you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was very bad. And then I always get a bad rep from my family. So basketball, I actually played until my sophomore year of high school. Okay. Then I quit. It was too much touching. The girls were so aggressive. I'm like, man, like, it's cool. I would be like, I'm good.
You got it.
So volleyball, it's a net. There's a ball. And then I ended up playing like club year round. So I also didn't have time.
Gotcha.
And I cheered. It was like a lot. But yeah, basketball, I stopped playing.
So you was active.
Yeah. Student body vice president. Like,
okay.
Things,
do you think? So even after after college, you got active, right? So, I did your LinkedIn scroll. Thanks for sharing that. So your first, while you were in college, your first internship was with Live Nation, correct?
Yes. My first internship, my first big girl, when I had like a PR company, but that one didn't last very long. But the one I got hired for that with interview was Live Nation, actually in sponsorships.
Oh, wow.
So now that I do sponsorship, like marketing, it's like a full circle. But I actually had 2 internships at the time.
Okay.
I was interning there and then another PR firm, and I was doing 15 hours in school.
Oh, wow.
And I lived in Cypress, outside of Houston.
Okay.
So it's like Prairie View is here, and then Cypress, and then Houston. So I was like going all over, but I wanted to, be great. So.
Yeah. So Live Nation sponsorships are focused on sponsorships for music festivals, or was it music just concerts?
It was Live Nation, so it could have been like House of Blues if they were owned by Live Nation, Toyota Center, I believe. So any Live Nation like venue.
Okay.
And oh my gosh, I don't want to date myself, but now y'all kind of know how old I am anyway. But it was like looking in the papers and finding leads and soliciting business people to reach out to for the director and manager. So there were 2 of us at the time in that department. So we had to go to concerts, a little table outside of the concerts, and be like, hey, would you sign up to get more info about being a VIP member and all of that. So having to go to the concerts when I'm in school and doing hours and it was a lot.
So let's backtrack a little bit. You mean you would have to look in the newspapers, find businesses that could potentially be leads to sponsor.
Yes.
So y'all didn't have any like lead gens. It was just,
if they did, they didn't let the interns use it.
Oh, so intern had to go find their own stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Did you secure any from that?
I don't believe so.
I'm about to say that's like
so that's why even now, I like help with strategy for marketing for our new clients, right? So like I'm not having to go find them.
Gotcha.
So if they have somebody that wants to come to us who's great, I'm like, oh, fire. What's your mission? Got it. Let me write a strategy to help get your mission through for the team. Okay. So I don't think I was great at soliciting.
So before we dive into that, we'll dive into that later. One thing I do want to ask, because I get asked this a lot from hosting events, right? What would you say is something you learned or maybe experienced to help people to solicit sponsorships? I feel that's one of the hardest things.
And it's, it's so funny. People will always be like, oh, Alexandria, you be so good at sales or like the sales part of the business or like real estate. And I'm like, for me, I would freak out if my livelihood was based on just sales. That. Like I couldn't, but again, like, so I'm not a part of the business development team.
Gotcha.
So I'm not the one going out and finding the new business. Okay. So, but if they have a prospect they want to like bring on, they'll be like, hey, COSIGN, wants to come on as a sponsor, like how would you incorporate them into the marketing strategy for Dallas Mavericks? How would you have them show up? Nice. So then I would like meet with the marketing person or meet with, you and be like, hey, what's your mission? What's your vision? And then write something from that to where it makes sense for both parties.
Okay.
Same for like the renewals, helping with that for clients who are coming back and and innovative ways, because we're kind of sold out of like our traditional, inventory. So how can we get creative, and make it make sense for everybody?
Got you. So that's kind of how y'all implement like halftime situations.
Yeah, just getting creative. We're always open to ideas and what makes sense for the fan experience.
Okay. So you already talked about marketing, which I love talking about media and marketing. But one thing let's help these people out with today is marketing isn't just about posting. It's not just about social media, right? So with your tons of experience, hands-on experience, right? What do you think makes a great marketer and a great marketing campaign?
Ooh, a great marketer. I would say somebody who just is always innovative. Okay. Somebody, so the whole like we've done it before is how we've done it, isn't always going to work. Right. And then also somebody who is like in the culture and like knowing what's going on and what's working and what's new. Like for example, like with what Fairy God's doing, like with the NBA, for example, with Jeremy, which is amazing. Even how they're styling the models. If you remember like a few months back, it was like the whole like mob wife era thing with the furs and on TikTok and Instagram. If you look at his post right now in Paris with the hoodie that's fire, he styled the model with the hoodie and she has a fur over it and the business pants. So it's like it all like works together and comes full circle. So I think it's somebody who's like a student of the game, like no pun intended, but knowing what's out there and what's trending and all of that, and not being able to not be afraid to push the limit of what that looks like. And just always be evolving and learning.
Right.
Yeah.
Who does great at that too? Ronnie Feig at Kith. It's a feed?
Yes,
Kith.
It's so like Kith. So we did a merchandise rebrand over the summer for the merchandise team. And that was one of our like Northern Stars. It was like one of our like a Kith, Bear Guide, Saks. Those are like our people we want to like model the website after and what that looked like. But no, Kith is fire, and I get anxiety on the drops, getting in line with the Olympic one that came out. I was like waiting. Even one that's coming up, it's probably already be posted by the time it comes out, but the one with the Brooklyn Museum that drops Saturday, I'll be on my app at 10 o'clock CST.
Be trying.
That just shows how great a job they do into the patient and the drops and the marketing. And they do very minimal marketing with Kith, in my opinion. It's just like,
Yeah, authentic collaborations, great story. Storytelling is another part.
Yes.
I feel like storytelling is a key component of marketing too.
I agree. I'm happy you mentioned that. Yeah, storytelling and how it all comes together, right? So if how do you get from point A to G? Right. Did we just jump to A to G? Like, what was that story that we told to all make it make sense for a campaign? So the story and people understanding that is just so key. My SVP, Derek, says that all the time about storytelling, but it's so pivotal, right? To make sure that the fan is being brought along for the process, or a guest or consumer or whomever it might be.
That's awesome. And for those who are watching who are just new to her, I'm gonna read the stat off so y'all know she's official, right? Okay.
Oh gosh. Hope it's on a volleyball stag. Is that
That's crazy. But no, so in one of your marketing campaigns and media press you worked for, right? You spearheaded an award-winning media program that generated $190 million in marketing-driven sales and 3.5 million store visits.
Was that Target? It has to be Target. It was store visits.
It was.
Oh my gosh. So I wish I had the coins for that in my purse. But no, I worked in an amazing team at Target. So Target was the role I had before this role. I was hired to be the media investment manager at Target. So what
big
that
girl
means,
title.
I know. I was like, so what that means is that my team wrote the strategy and dollar amount for how we showed up in the media for campaigns. So let's just say holiday, which is a big campaign at Target. It's Christmas. So that was one of those I worked on. So how are we showing up monetarily, investment-wise in TV, radio, social media, billboards? How are you seeing the holiday ads for Target, essentially? So I worked on holiday, new store openings. I worked on some custom things, a little bit of Revolt, a little bit of Essence Fest here and there. But that's what I did at Target. But the team is like amazing. So
So at Target, that's all national, right? Because I know some organizations will have like local, media, regional, and then national.
No, I worked at HQ. Hair flip. It was an amazing team. Shout out to like Danielle, Jenna, Stephanie, Cassie. Just everybody there is amazing. Blessed to be on that team. But I was at HQ, but I did work remotely. So HQ is in Minnesota, but I worked remotely, and then I moved to New York. I know we'll probably get to that. We moved to New York the last year of that job. So that's where I was before this was in Brooklyn.
BK. I was born in Brooklyn.
Really?
I was born in Brooklyn,
I love New York so much.
Yeah. Okay. So say if you make it in New York, you can make it anywhere, right?
No, literally, like it was a time, and I'm so fortunate because I was living in Houston. And my dad, to be very honest, I'm stacking money up, trying to figure out where I want to move to next. And a friend of mine was like, hey, you having a place there. It's like this new build. You want to like come try it out in New York for like a month or two. And I was like, okay, yes, I have my own bedroom, all the stuff. And then 1 month was 2, and then 3, and then it ended up being like a little over a year. But I love New York. I had a time. When I tell you, I made sure I maxed it out. But if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
You should.
Because I found myself on that subway in the cold being like, guys, is this the soft life that I aim to live? But no, it was great. I learned a lot.
Yeah, one thing about New York too, especially in media and marketing, is a lot of the big agencies are out there. So like as far as networking, handling meeting and projects, it's so easy because everybody's there. For somebody looking to get in the industry, do you feel like going to one of those major markets is a must if they want to follow like a career like yours? Because when you look at the companies you worked for, what you managed to do, like a lot of people like in Dallas or Texas, I can only imagine working at these organizations and these positions.
Yeah.
Do you feel like taking a chance and going to like a major market is worth it, or do you feel like you can do it anywhere?
And it's not lost on me that my business trajectory or like career is like, I'm blessed.
Yeah.
Like God has really had his hand on my life. And so even with what I do now, I want to make sure like I'm honoring the position I'm in as a vessel and knowing that, you know, I'm just, it's him and he's working through me rather. So to answer your question, yes. I don't care what job industry you're in or whatever, move.
Yeah.
And I say, you know, try a major market, you know, in New York or LA or London. I wish I was overseas if I could. But if you have the means to do so, do so. Even if it's like for a summer. My sister actually stayed a summer in Manhattan for 3 months to split her friend's apartment because they were in Europe. And now she's living in Upper East Side in Manhattan. So I say try it out. If you hate it, you did it. You know, you tried, but you don't know until you try. And one reason for me going, I had no reason to move to New York, by the way. It was just like, I don't want to look back and be like, dang, I wish I would have done it.
That part.
Situation when I'm settled down and get married or anything like that. So that was a big part of it. But to your point about networking, because the big ones are based there. So our agency that I worked with was there. Essence was there, you know, the Hulu's, the New York Times, whatever. So because I was there, I was able to go to the dinners when they, you know, wanted to come. I couldn't because I was in Texas.
Right.
I was able to go to the private concerts. I went to the US Open like 3 times because they had a box because I was there.
Because you was there.
So that's when I say I make sure I maxed out all the things when I was there. But yeah, if you can go, for sure.
That's super important. There's this company that I look up to. They're fairly new though. It's called Pod Digital Media, right? So the owner, Gary, he was based in New York, worked for a couple agencies, realized that the podcast industry was the next big thing. And because he already had all these relationships when he was working on the agency side, when he started the podcasting network, he was able to get those relationships, those meetings, and already get those advertisers to sign on to the podcast. So being in New York alone, he was able to get all the relationships. So he didn't start from ground zero like some people did, because the relationships at least put him up a couple notches.
Yeah. And I know it helped too. I always joke, it's like, even with this job with the Mavs, you know, I was nervous. This is my first time in sports, but I think I know living in New York helped be able to do the job better, if that makes sense. Like, just because, like, you know, the walking in the subway and the people are amazing and it's just go get her and all the things. So I know it made me a little bit more, you know, be able to do the job more. Sure. So I'm so happy I had that time there, and I visit whenever I can.
Yeah. Even kids, like there's a maturity level to living in New York. Yeah. It's like you have to grow up fast. Like you still have a child, but you're just growing up fast because you're taking the subway as a kid to get to school, you know, the bus by yourself. So it's like, you just have this different level of confidence I've always noticed from New Yorkers.
And go get it. And it's just like, even the moms, like super moms with the strollers and the subways, I'm just like, that'd be my life. I don't know. But like, it's just so, it's so great to see. But yeah, it really makes you like, you know, kind of put up or shut up.
Yeah,
you know, in a sense. I got a big compliment. I feel like it was big. Somebody couldn't tell that I wasn't from New York. And I was like,
Okay.
You know, I'm Southern to my core. I'm from the South. But I was like, ooh, thank you.
Nah, that's real.
And now we're all black.
Nah, because as soon as a Southerner get to New York, they're like, nah, you're not from here. So so for them to think that you one of them, that's dope.
Yeah. It was the one time I ordered a ranch water at a bar. And they were like, the look was like, where are you from?
Yeah.
And I was like, it's Topo Chico and tequila and lime juice. And they're like, we don't serve that here. I was like, okay. Then I found my tribe. I found a bar who served it. But yeah.
That's what's up. Well, what was your go-to drink out there if they didn't serve that? What would be the next drink that you would order?
So I finally found somebody. So I finally know how to make it, to tell them how to make it.
Okay.
But now I'm like an espresso martini with tequila, girl.
Okay.
But like, you have to have the machine. It can't be just the, you know, mix. So like,
okay. You don't want them to be out there.
No, I want the machine. Like, do it right. Be an espresso martini with tequila. But like, now I've been on the kind of a misty January.
Okay, I have no idea what that is. Put us on.
Okay, so with my church, I do no non-essential spending for January for our fast. Okay. So like, if it's not, you know, groceries, you know, whatever essential gas, I didn't do it. Gotcha. You can pick whatever it was for you, but I picked that for the past 2 years. So that means I'm not going outside because that costs, you know, coins.
Yes.
So I saw on TikTok, this guy was like a misty Q1, those who are drinking, meaning the way it was like January, February, March, you can like lightly drink. So like, or like a celebration, maybe some wine or champagne every 2 weeks if you need to, but just not to be all cold turkey was what it was. So I haven't had tequila in like 2 months, and now I drank it like maybe a few days ago, and I was like, I'll take some wine.
That's what I've been
out of my system. Like,
yeah. So I haven't had like a cocktail in a while. So when I went to Europe,
when I went to Europe,
yeah, you know, slight face. I dropped that in there. When I was in Europe, I was drinking some white wine, and then one of my homies, of course, DM'd me. He was like, "Man, I'd love to see you out there living your life, King, but switch over to red."
People try to get me on the red. I am a Pinot Grigio or a dry, like German Riesling person.
Oh, I love Riesling.
Right? Yeah. I love a dry Riesling, but the tequila, it doesn't. And you get older. It takes a while to recover, and it's just not my ministry right now. But maybe this summer it'll change.
Maybe this summer, man. Because right now I had an old fashioned. Last time I drank in December, I had an old fashioned for a lunch meeting, and I was done for the day.
Yeah,
I couldn't do no more work.
Yeah, and I've also become in the summer. I'm a day drinker in the summer. Like I don't do night. Like I need to be recovered.
Yeah, day party only for me.
Brunch me, please.
Yeah, I'm with that. My bad if we get off on the tangent. I can talk about drinking all day. But I want to talk about this because when we did like our short blurbs for the nominations, right?
And again, I want to say it again. So blessed, so thankful, like so appreciative of you and the space and the community and the platform and the people that voted. Like, I don't think you know how much that meant to me.
No, you deserve it. You deserve it. The people showed up for you. They voted. So, congratulations again.
My dad, I sent it to my dad and he sent me a screenshot. He sent like all his like old, football player friends that voted. I was like, Daddy, like, I don't even know half of them. But he was like, nah, what to make sure.
Oh, no, that's lit. That's lit. Previous year we had this girl, she sent it to, she was nominated for like real estate entrepreneur of the year. And she sent it to her mom, and her mom's a teacher. So her mom was sent
to school. Yeah, I love it. Yes, run it up.
Her mom had a school running it up. So we've seen some creative campaigns. And then 2 years ago, there's an event series called the Southern Classic.
Yes.
They were nominated for Event Series of the Year. And when they had their Southern Classic, they had a QR code at check-in. So when you check in, you can scan the QR code to vote real quick before you go into the Southern Classic. So I like, man,
that's Sydney. Right?
Yeah, Sydney. Yeah.
Shout out to Sydney. Yes, that's something she would do. Love it. Love it.
Shout out to Sydney. So it's like, man, it always makes us feel great at COSIGN to see people really appreciate just the platform.
Oh, 1,000%. And I'm so blessed that even at the award ceremony, that my mom got to be there, which is a whole new level of just like all the things. But my former CMO, y'all honored Iris. Yes. So she was there, and then my SVP Derek was there, so they got to see me get it. It was just like, and
it's actually a great segue because I actually wanted to talk to you. I know you mentioned that she was very pivotal in helping you get your role with the Mavs, but let's go earlier than that.
Yeah.
Who was somebody that co-signed you early on that kind of really helped the trajectory of your career?
Oh gosh. I think, and it was never like he's gonna kill me. It was never Dale Lockett.
Okay.
And I say that because he is the community director for public programming at KHOU, which is a CBS TV station in Houston.
Okay.
Which was where I worked. So to back up, graduated from Prairie View, moved back home to East Texas because I didn't have the dream job I wanted. I was supposed to be y'all at BET, Ebony in New York, didn't work out. I was devastated.
Same.
Moved back home. That ended up working at the high school I went to.
Okay.
As a college advisor.
A
job I should not have had. Like I should have had degrees for that.
Yeah.
But I was also in my hometown. The teachers I still like knew because they were my teachers. It was just a very weird place to be in. Blessed to have a job, but also kind of like, what are we doing here? So did that for a year and a half. I was cheer sponsor. Then I got a job working for a nonprofit that dealt with dementia and raising funds for that in Houston. So I left East Texas, moved to Houston, worked there for 2 years, and then got opportunity to apply for community. What was the title? Community relations manager. No, not even manager, like coordinator or something for KHOU.
Okay.
So essentially, in that role, I was the liaison from the community to the TV stations. Relates to like nonprofits. Our anchor appearances they would do in the community for like galas and walks. Our talk show, Great Day Houston, I would help with that.
Okay.
Just all the things. And so I say Dell because in my head, I should not have had that job. I think I was like 25, 24 as the liaison, taken to like HISD and just the city of Houston and coordinating like our food drives and toy drives and just all these things for like almost 4 years, 3 years I was there. So I went through Hurricane Harvey, Super Bowl, Final Four, the World Series in that role. And so that was just so pivotal in just learning all the things. So I'm just fortunate to Dell for allowing me to have that role. That's and awesome. Giving me autonomy also in that role to an extent. And then for just the staff there, like Deborah Duncan, who's an amazing anchor, just the whole team. Like, awesome. And I worked under Susan McEldoon, who is a female GM for a TV station in a major market. Okay. So I just say that because it's just like, I know that was kind of like a turning point, I'm sure, and kind of where I am now. So, man, with accolades and experience like that, have you dealt with imposter syndrome? Oh my gosh. We're like this. So I was sharing with you before we started that I was helping out with the Marcus Graham project, which is an amazing platform for students who want to get into marketing and media and all the things. They have a cohort here with the Mavs and do the MBA. So I was there before this and I was running a little late. So again, thank you. But I was just telling some of the students working on the project, we were talking about the rebrand that we did for merchandise. And I thought they were kind of like getting overwhelmed a little bit, with it, because they're presenting to like our VPs tomorrow. Like, it's an amazing opportunity for them. Just like their test case. Anywho, and even with this role, like, to be also transparent, like my last interview that I had with this role was with Cent, who was our former CEO and the only Black woman CEO in the NBA, at that time. And my last interview wasn't supposed to be with her. She wasn't on like the radar of what I was told. Right. So they told me I was interviewing with Cent, and I was just like, God, this gotta be my, like, I feel like, Yeah. So we interviewed, and in the interview, which is amazing, she was like, when I see you in the hallway in a year, and so my head is like calculating, that means, I don't know if I got it. It's like, when I see you in the hallway in a year, I want you to still be showing up as this. And in the interview, I had red nails, I had on red glasses, like curls where, I had red, like, you're going to see me. Okay. And so that just made me feel more comfortable because it's still sports, it's the South, it's the NBA. Like, can I show up as me? Right. All the things. And so, but they hired me for a reason, right? Of what I bring to the table. And I'll tell anybody. So that just made me feel much more comfortable in showing up as myself and, not conforming or feeling like I have to. Because I have been in jobs before where I've felt like I cannot be myself. And I'm not there anymore. So, but yeah, definitely have that. I still have that. Do you, when you go through those moments, is there like a time or a project or a win that you look back and be like, okay, I cried, I doubted myself, but I remembered I did this, so that means I could do this? Oh yes, just with the rebrand that we did, the comments and just all of the feedback that we got, not only from the people who were there, like our wonderful stylist and the photographer and just the merchandise team in general and the models and just everybody, but the fans we've gotten on social media and just everybody seeing the change that we did and recognizing it. Like, say less. Like, that was just what I needed to know. We're doing the right thing. We're on the right path. We're listening to the culture. We're showing up authentically, which is a big thing for me to always show up authentically, no matter what it looks like or what I'm doing. So that was it. And now I'm just like, let's go. So. Man, that's amazing. And I love the Mavs. So I say this with nothing but respect, right? Oh God. No, it's nothing bad. It's really a kudos to you because I love what you're doing because years ago, my thing was I'm of the culture, right? Yeah. So I've seen campaigns and projects that, teams like the New York Knicks will do with Kith. I've seen teams, in LA do one like that. Yeah. How they partner with local people who are making a difference in the community, right? Of course, by way of Dallas is one of those organizations who teams partners with, right? But you'll see creative things that teams do, whether they bring in the local talent and then they mix in the NBA coach, their team coach with the local. And I was like, man, Dallas misses that, right? Like when you think of, only culturally wise, right? But when you think of that, you're like, you don't really feel only when you go to the games, you feel like the energy, but you don't feel the Dallas Mavs NBA culture outside, right? So now with this rebrand, you can feel it more. You can feel people of the culture, even, with the Latino marketing campaigns you guys do. It's like, it's bringing more of the community apart. And I feel like that's what
the math were missing, but now I'm seeing that starting to make those changes.
Yeah. And like I say, kudos to just all the staff that I work with and my coworkers. So even in our marketing department. So I just oversee strategy for our corporate sponsorships and merchandise. One of my coworkers is director of marketing for ticket marketing. Okay. So a lot of our theme nights. So to your point, another coworker oversees like off course, like academy, gym, nonprofits, all of that marketing. And then another coworker is director of marketing over like digital and all of that. So they're just, everybody's amazing, right? I'm a small piece of it, but I think that our vision is very clear. What we want to do and how we want to show up. Even with our heritage capsule collections that we do, we're doing one this year for Lunar New Year. Which just passed.
I got a sneak peek of it.
Sold out like quick.
Aspire
for us.
Aspire.
There'll be one for African American Heritage Night. And there'll be one for our Los Mavs Night. But they're all Dallas-based or born designers who are also of that ethnicity for that Heritage Night. So to your point, we're trying to just make sure that we're showing up in that space authentically for the fans.
That's awesome. Look, kudos to y'all. A little clap. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and our brand team for like finding the designers. Like it's such a team effort. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Who else in the I'm not even gonna say the mass. I'm just saying in general, right? Because while you're in this work, sometimes it could be a lonely thing, right? Who is somebody you lean upon or you lean on when you need assistance, guys? It doesn't have to be somebody within an organization. It could be a friend who's an executive at another company or an entrepreneur who kind of like, who's your support system? What does that look like?
Yeah. I mean, as cliche as it might sound, like my family group chat, my mom and dad and my sister, my friends group chats, they're kind of all over, just bouncing all these up for them and checking in. My tribe is amazing. The community I'm building, I'm super blessed in that regard. I also have a group chat with which that's probably the one that probably the most that gets it is my group chat that I have with former colleagues who are women and women of color at different jobs. Like we have this chat kind of like, did you see this marketing thing? Or, that kind of thing. And just kind of like, I know I wasn't crazy. That's so just doing like gut checks and then like, when people get promotions or new jobs, like celebrating. So have people who are in the industry, like are working in similar spaces can understand when I say something. They're like, oh, I get it. So yeah, just fortunate to have that tribe. And then like, firm believer in God as a Christian. So just also leaning on, God, I take moments. I'm very big on self-care. Right. So I very much take space for myself because working in this industry is very go. Right. And you realize you look up and you're doing like 10 different, campaigns and you're like, how did we get here? So I make sure I check in with myself as much as I can remember to, for sure, to make sure that I'm like, okay for me. Cause if I'm going, I can't show up in the best capacity for my job or for anybody else. Exactly.
I'm glad you pointed on that too, because, of course you're doing amazing work, but you are not the work that you do, right? You are yourself, right? So what do you want people to know from you? What do you want your personal brand to be? What do you want people to know about you? This
was not on his questions.
It wasn't. I told her, I said, hey, I'm just using this as a baseline. We going off the dough.
Geez Louise. My personal brand.
Because, a lot of times.
I feel like as a marketer, I should know this, but I feel like I'm always doing everybody else's stuff. So to your point, thank you for asking. Because my dad is also very much so also like, make sure you're building your own brand outside of, this. I hope people enjoy working with me. Okay. No matter what that looks like. I hope they see that I've added value. I've added to the project in an authentic and in an exciting way. Okay. I hope they see that I'm showing up also genuinely for the work and that we're getting shit done. Yeah. Like that it's not just like all these ideas and just all the things. Like, no, because half of my brain is like creative and half is very analytical. So half is like and then this part's like, let's do this. So I think it works well together also. But yeah, just that I've contributed to the success of what we're trying to do in an authentic and a great way. And I hope they see also the light of God showing through the work and how I'm showing up for them. So yeah.
I think people are going to look at you too as like, that queen of marketing too. Like if you look,
oh my God,
come on, put that crown on.
Dark-skinned girl blushing.
But no, for sure, because the experience, everything you've done, like really own into that, not even just in sports, not even just with, your current role, but if you look back at everything you've done, it had that component to it. And, definitely dive into that. Like for me, I don't want people to think of, even though like my tag and everything is cosign, but more so like, KG, yeah, I'm a father, but like the media person, like at least let me go to him for media guidance, etc. So I always try to wonder like what people's, personal things, what they want to be known for most,
Yeah, just showing up authentically, genuinely. I made a difference. I made an impact.
Right.
And then also to be able to look at something and say, oh, Alexandria did that. Or to look at it and say, oh, she wasn't a part of that, because that's not something. So just to like have that, part of it, that would be great. And to just know that I pushed the envelope. To your question earlier about what makes a great marketer, I'm like, I'm definitely, you can ask anybody. I'm going to ask and push until they tell me no. Gotcha. So like, I'm going to ask, can we do this? If we can't, okay, cool. But yeah, I would say that's what it is.
And I know I didn't ask this earlier either too with the question I sent you, but of course, marketing is creative, storytelling, pushing the boundaries. Yeah. And one thing that it's not my favorite, but we have to lean on it too is the data, right? Yeah. Do you like to dive into the data, or do you like, is there somebody on your team that dives so you could just focus on being creative?
Yeah, no, we have a wonderful analytics team. Okay. That's able to just pull all kind of data, and then even our digital team and marketing is able to pull just like click-throughs and opens and kind of be like, hey, we should send to this audience or this. So I cannot take credit for any of that whatsoever, but we definitely have teams that dive into that to have us make more educated decisions when it comes to marketing.
Got you. Okay, so let me ask you this then. What is one piece of data just from that your experience you would say people need to just be attentive to, right, in their own business? Because a lot of our audience are entrepreneurs. Yeah. So let's say, for example, you had a $500K marketing budget. We ain't got that, right? So let's say we have a $50K marketing budget, right, for the year. Yeah. Just say COSIGN. We have $50K marketing budget for the year, right? So the two-part question is, where should we deploy, right? And then what data should we look at to kind of help us deploy?
Yeah, so I think it depends on what the product is, right? Okay. So I think if I was in real estate, right, I would be investing a lot in like my creative assets. Okay. So am I getting like some dope, quality video of the houses? Am I in them? Do my like flyer social media posts look great? Am I doing, I would be investing in like tip videos. Okay. Like this is how you get, a mortgage, or if you're in this tax bracket, this is how much you pay for down payment. Just educating the people. Right. When they feel informed and can trust you, they're probably going to work with you more in that capacity. If I was a beauty brand, I'd probably be creating wonderful like influencer kits and packages and investing money in influencers, but also making sure it's written down how much they're going to be doing for me. Right. Them deliverables. They come on. Yes. What are those deliverables? Are we posting 2 times in feed, 2 times in story? Are you tagging me? Are you not? Like laying all of that out is so key. For sure. Right. So I think it just depends on what industry you're in and what you're doing on how out that money. But I think a safe bet right now is just investing in brand ambassadors and influencers, and also what your creative assets are. Also, just even things like your email account, like making sure that's not Gmail, it's branded. So I think just things that you think might be minimal, just making sure the product, is great of what you're selling, number one, but then also how you're showing up. Because we say it's not the case, but like, the visual in the book is what you see first. Definitely. So making sure that that's a good product and, that way.
That's awesome. That's great feedback, because a lot of times too, people, they know things, it's just they don't execute on them. They're like, you're right. Maybe I should do that now because they heard you say it, right? Yeah. Like people say the whole time, I'm gonna start making videos.
Yeah. And even with the influencers, right? They don't have to have the 100K followers, even the 10K followers. They have a good, if they have a good traction with, comments and likes, and they're in the market, right? Then I would look into them and what that looks like. So even with me, I consider myself a content creator outside of what I do. Right. And something else, imposter syndrome, I'm like, it's not perfect. It's blurry, the light, all the things you can see, like the lace on my wig, child, I don't know. But it's just like, post the content. Like people are making a whole lot more with a whole lot less. So just, do it, and then you can perfect it from there. But don't keep putting it off until you get it perfect, because then you'll never post it.
You'll never do it. Yeah. Right. That's right. So I know you're a busy woman, so I got 2 more questions. All right. So, your career spans from, from media, education, nonprofit sector.
Yeah, the education that was snuck up on there. You know what's crazy with the education piece is that my daddy told me. So my whole family basically is like educators.
Right.
My grandfather was the first Black principal. Where we grew, where he is, and my dad is a coach and teacher.
Okay.
My grandmother was a basketball coach, like renowned at La Vega. And like my whole family. My uncle is Greg Williams. Lancaster track, so like 7-6 rings or whatever for men's track. So everybody is like educators, right? So my dad would be like, you're getting up in education. I'm like, hey, that's not even like chill, sir.
Yeah.
First job, what did I say it was in my high school?
Yeah.
And then even then, I went and got my master's degree because I feel like there weren't enough Black women teaching at the collegiate level. Yeah. So I went and got my master's at Purdue, and I was trying to teach at HBCU, but they didn't call me back. But it's okay. It's okay. I taught at University of Houston for 5 years. Yeah, as an adjunct professor. So I did that for 5 years. Got my master's while I was at KHOU.
Where were you teaching?
I taught social media strategy and media and society.
Come on, Professor Williams.
Yeah. But the reason I did it again was because I wanted people to see, us in that space. And my first day, I kid you not, in class, there was a Black girl, Latina girl, came to me and she's like, "You my professor?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Oh my God." Yeah. And I just knew in that moment, like, it was kind of like, this is why I did it. Yeah. So yeah, I did it for 5 years through the pandemic and all that. So it was a mixture of like in person and online. Yes. But it was like one class semester, maybe 2. I would get back into it if I had the time. But I really felt a need and still do to like pour into people coming up, adjacent to me. I don't want to say behind me, but adjacent to me.
You might end up in education when it's all said and done.
Listen, 10-year, lock me in.
They're trying to bring back, what was it called? A Different World, your version of.
That's why I went to Prairie View. Yeah. Like that's a different world. When I grew up, the majority of my friends did not look like me. That's how I just put it. Yeah. And so I was like, I want to be around, us. And so my dad wanted me to go to TCU. And then I got a scholarship money from Prairie View. I ended up going there, but I wanted to be around that. So Different World was a big part of like all the things, like Willie Gilbert is like something like that,
All my friends went to PV. That's why I didn't go. So like, man, I'm not gonna get no work done.
That's what I was the freshman mentor. I'm like, y'all, just get it together because we out here. So yeah.
Okay. So education, even retail industry, now sports.
Yep.
So you had a wide range of experience, right? But there's hundreds of thousands, millions of boys and girls around the world that would love to follow, your path, right? What would you share with them to start a career in media or into sports, right? I'm gonna just leave it at those two, media or sports. What blueprint would you leave for them?
Blueprint. That's so interesting because I feel like my career, even though I've been very blessed and consistent, it's very much so been like this, right? Even to the point where I unfortunately got, laid off during COVID. I was working for a movie theater company and theaters were not open. So, it's very much so I didn't have a job for, like a few months. What was time during the pandemic either?
I feel like the year's gone.
I know wine at 11 o'clock a.m. on a Wednesday was normal. Yeah. But yeah, I would just say, as I say, I feel like all the time is like shoot all the shots, right? Like, because if you don't shoot, if you don't try, you're guaranteed to know because you never try. That's true. So I don't like I'm not qualified, or they want 10 years on the description for the job and I only have 7. Like, people try, so they should never be attempting it. And you telling me 2 years difference is going to have you not apply for that job?
That's a bar.
So that's the thing. It's like, shoot all of them, try, like, and just see what happens. You'd be surprised. How far you get. And at least you say, I did that or I tried. Same with the whole New York. I tried to do it. Yeah. I did it, right? And if I didn't like it, I would have left. I loved it. So I would say that's the thing. And I would also say, like, don't be afraid to move around, right? Yeah. So if you want to work in sports, but you see a job opening, I'm making this up, in like Tampa or somewhere else, like, don't be afraid to apply for that and move and move around, because I will say it's easier once you get in sports, move around to other jobs, even with like media and, TV, right? You have anchors who will start in a smaller market to work their way up and get to a, New York, Dallas, Houston, LA or what have you. So, and then also if the job isn't the title you want or the department you want, still take a job, just maybe adjacent to it or similar to get in the door, right? My dad still tells me, he's like, do what you have to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
That's so real. If you don't want to do it right now, cool, but you're working way up to where you can do what you want to do later. So for example, I also worked for university. So I worked for UNT Dallas right after COVID. I was director of advertising, which there wasn't that role at the time, right? And so even though it was a huge, I say pay cut from the other job I had, but I also got laid off. So I didn't even pay, but the job was a lot less, right?
A win is a win.
A win is a win. A win is a win. Very blessed to have that job. Learned a lot, right? But it was education, right? I knew I wanted to work for like a Fortune 10 company and work in sports, but I got that director title working for the university, right? And so it's also one of those, it's like, okay, I know I want to get here. I need this experience. I was blessed to have that job at the university. So, being very strategic in how you want to maneuver, it's not going to be this. It's just not, and if it is, I love that for you, but for the majority, that's just not going to be the case, right? So I think it's just being open to experiences and just knowing that if that's what you want to do, working towards it, and your journey is your journey. Also, some advice I would say is just don't compare your journey to someone else's. Like my chapter 12 is not your chapter 1, that's or my one. Chapter 12 is not your chapter 15. I can't compare myself to somebody who is, CMO of marketing for, I'm making this at the NFL. Right. Because that's not the journey I'm on. Right. Gotcha. But do I want to be in that same kind of capacity eventually? Right. Maybe, possibly that's amazing, but I can't compare myself because that'll drive you crazy. For sure. Because you don't know what they did to get there. Yeah. You know what they do to keep it, right. The struggles. Over here, people want to be a director of marketing for a team. Over here crying in the car because I have imposter syndrome. You know what I mean? So you just never know people's journey. Right. So I just say, stay the course. What's for you is for you, and to always give yourself grace. That's a big one. Tell myself that all the time. I have a bracelet that says grace, and it says breathe, because we're so hard on ourselves, right? Or at least I am. And so I'm just like, girl, give yourself a second. Like you're doing a lot, and you're doing a pretty good job. So just chill. It's like I tell myself sometimes.
Man, you said about 7 gems in that one. And that one, you said so much, because what it boils down to even earlier is the sacrifice, right? A lot of us are afraid to leave home for a job because we don't want to move around. We don't want to leave our family, our friends, our boyfriend and girlfriend. Our safety net. Our safety net. And you don't know what you can accomplish if you just jump and take that leap, right? You like everything that you're going to want in life is going to require sacrifice. Yeah. You can't have it all. Yeah. You're gonna have to let go of something.
You can't. And even to your point, something else that what you just said about the taking the leap. So with New York, for example, people know this, but they will now. But I reached out to a recruiter from the NBA, executive recruiting, for a job with the Thunder, director of marketing or comms during COVID, but I had to have a job, right? On LinkedIn. So I'm use it.
Ooh. Say that again. LinkedIn.
People underestimate LinkedIn. They post the job poster sometimes in the job. You can DM directly, and people don't do it. But anyway, so got interviewed for that job. Interviewed 4 rounds and didn't get it. Devastated. Didn't have a job. I was laid off. Right, and I'm just like, God, they called me. Like, what happened? Didn't get it. The recruiter, Brian, who I love to this day, was like, they loved you, stay in contact with me. And I'm like, yo, don't do that. But I did, and he did. So I interviewed for a job with the Chicago Bulls director of comms or marketing, didn't get it, moved to New York, right? And I was like, he was in New Jersey. I hadn't met him in person, right? Okay. And he's like, you want to come to the NBA front office and just do a little quick tour and just see whatever? I was like, yeah, sure, of course. So I go, and I'm thinking it's like light work, like, coffee or whatever. So I always be prepared. End of the tour, he's like, so how much money would you want to make in a job? What kind of role do you want to get? And I'm just like, I was not prepared. I made up some number. I should have added more. Like I just made up something. And then he mentioned about this role being open. This was like March or April of that year. Yeah. Yeah. It was like open. This job was open for a while before they kept interviewing for it. They found a person, they offered, people didn't take. It was, different things. So it was open. I was like, I just got to New York. I don't want to, move back. But again, being open and just seeing, because they might not have wanted me. Who knows? Right. Interviewed for the Nets also. Okay. So I say all that to say just about your point of moving. Like I know for a fact, Brian pushed I'm sure he shared my resume with, the team at the Mavs. I'm pretty sure, but I know for a fact. But if I wouldn't have moved to New York possibly, and even though I already knew him, I met him in person and all that things, who knows, right? But God was doing all the stuff behind the scenes. Yeah, I just needed to show up. So just to your point, move, try it, do it. The worst you can do is fail. The worst somebody can do is say no. Yeah. I know that hurts our egos. What really is that? Is that hurting us? We're gonna cry in the car for a second.
We're gonna be all right.
And then you're gonna be fine. Yeah. if you reach out to somebody about mentorship or advice, they might say no or ignore you. Okay.
True. And we worry about what other people are going to think if we fail, but
Yeah.
they don't care about us like that. People got their own lives, right? They don't care. They may talk about us or may talk about you for a little bit, and then they're on to their own lives.
And the ones who do, I saw something on, the socials where we all get things from outside of my therapist. But also to your point, it's like, don't be concerned about somebody's talking about you would take advice from.
Yeah.
Because the majority of people who talk stuff about you, probably you wouldn't even ever ask for any advice. So I know it hurts. I'm not negating the fact that, things hurt, but all he can say is no.
Yeah.
Even with dating, all he can say is no. Like, all right, your loss.
Y'all better keep shooting the shots. Y'all better keep shooting shots. Shoot them professionally or relationshiply, whatever you want to do. Shoot them.
Yes, all of it. All of it. Apply for that, lease, condo, whatever.
Look, I tell people all the time, I am a professional DM slider. I am going to shoot. I got my first major partnership just shooting in DMs.
Yes.
Yeah, just shooting DM. Like, man, what's the worst? They're going to either be like, ignore it.
Right.
Or they're going to be like, oh, that's not me.
And to your point, my first podcast was in December of last year. So again, I'm just, even though I've been in the game too, like for 10 plus years, this is still, podcasting, this new for me. I hope I'm doing a good job.
Hey, killing me.
But thank you. But to his point, he slid in my DMs maybe like 3 months before I opened it. I wasn't like ignoring, I just didn't see it or whatever. But I said yes. I was like, yes, like thank you for the honor. And then I'll be on a podcast for another young lady, a women in sports podcast. Okay. Hopefully in a couple of months, but she slid in my D, like literally. So I might not see it initially, but like shoot the shots.
Man, shoot it. And even on your side, I'm gonna say this for people who can provide value, right? Let's say somebody shoots their shot for a podcast or interview, and it may not have the numbers you want, right? But it's always good for you because it's content that you can always repurpose.
Yeah, I mean, these are not like, they're wonderful. Wonderful package for people, but they're not, revolt. But I'm so thankful for the platform, for the opportunity, because they could have asked anybody. It's also, I'm still, to your point, I'm still like, who am I to even be giving advice to anybody? So
you're
I'm so grateful.
You're a big deal.
But I'm so honored and so blessed. So yeah, to your point, it's content for me too. The first one I did, my mom wanted to come. I told her, she's like, can I come? And I'm like, Mommy, it's like 2 of us. She's like, I'll be there.
That's lit.
But it's great content for me to use. Like, I'm about to use these pictures and all the clips and all the things. For sure. So yeah.
That's lit. That's lit. No, this is how you know it's a great podcast. I sent her an invite for 30 minutes. And I know
what time is it?
I know we way over. But it's all good though.
I missed my brunch. They gonna be all right.
It's all good. It's a great conversation. I know she's a busy woman, but I wanted to make sure you guys got this value, because not only what I love about interviews or conversations like these are because we talked about your journey and your career, but it's people will look at you like, oh my gosh, she has this title, she works for the Mavs, and not really understand everything you went through to get there. So it's relatable stories. So somebody could watch this and be like, you know what, let me get off my ass and let me go ahead and take that trip to Arizona or take that job in Arizona because they offered it and I'm scared, or let me just let me get on LinkedIn to see what's possible.
Yes. Yes, all of that. Because even with, I'm a Texan through and through. And the first one I mentioned was Oklahoma with the Thunder. No shade to Oklahoma, love y'all. Be just like, dang, I would rather, be in Texas or whatever. But I was out. I was looking at apartments, when I was interviewing. I was like, I'm in this. And so again, like, just try and do it. You can always failure is not, it's not a if, it's a win.
Right.
For most things. And so it's just like, okay, we're going to shake it off and, move forward. So
for sure. Yeah. Last question I'm gonna ask you. Okay. Great story, great resilience.
I'll be trying.
You be locked in. Our last question we like to ask individuals is, we putting out with the shine on you, the highlight on you, but we want to know, who do you co-sign, right? Who's somebody you've been looking at and we're like, you know what? Since, I have this platform now, these people, great people talk to me about me, who can you share the spotlight with and say somebody, what, this person's a great person, they do X, Y, Z, and y'all should look out for them?
Just on the people who I know level, just like the teams I work with at the Mavs, like, I'm not even just saying this, but like the merchandise team, is amazing because I mentioned before, there wasn't anybody doing marketing before, so it could have been very easy to be like, who are you to come in and whatever, but just so gracious and all of that. I will shout out my little sister.
Okay.
She does marketing and events for Sephora in New York, like to the point about like picking up and leaving. Like I'm just so honored and proud of her. But it's somebody who I would love to meet. It's Taylor Rooks, who, you know, media personality, who, girl, I follow like all the things,
Speak
the
that
journey,
to
the
existence.
story, like just a media personality, and just her trajectory is like crazy. I listened to her interviews and podcasts, and it's like that was my second. I was like, I could like should have done like hosting and I just had the preparation and the, you know, being on your toe. Like it's an art. Like it's like so I just, you know, respect that so much. And even Cammie Crawford, she's a personality too. But I was following her when she was on the BET show, a reality show, but you know, Catfish and just all the things, and her podcast that she has. So I just respect their authenticity so much and how they show up as women and who they are, and so gracefully. And with Taylor being in a male-dominated space and doing what she's doing, and the ones that came before her. So I just respect it so much.
That's awesome, man. This is a great conversation. Thanks for highlighting those women as well. I feel like it's always a plus for women to support women, minorities support minorities. Before we get out of here, please share where people can find you, tap in with you, all that great stuff.
So my cell phone number, no, I'm just kidding. So thank you again so much for the time and for the platform. But Alexandria Williams, you can find me on Instagram specifically at alexandria.williams with 3 S's on Instagram, and then on LinkedIn, Alexandria Williams.
Yes, and if you found any value in this episode, if you enjoyed it, laughed, cried, got motivated, inspired, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Let us know in the comments. Let us know on social. And until next time, make sure y'all continue to live the COSIGN life. Make sure you follow both platforms. And we can't wait to see y'all in person at our next event.